clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, here we go. Subway Sports Talk. My name is Peter Kennedy, and I am your host. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into SST on Apple Podcast app, Spotify, and on YouTube. We're here for a quick hitter today with Cody O'Connor. Talk some baseball because guess what? The Yankees win again on Monday night. The Mets were off after a split with the San Diego Padres, which could have easily been a 3 out of 4, and it was not. But the big story right now is, of course, not just the New York Yankees, but Aaron Judge and Juan Soto just being the best players in baseball for this extended, impressive period of time. We have to talk about it. So, Cody O'Connor, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? Those two are just unbelievable. Every night, one or the other. A lot of nights, it's both. And the Yankees from a month ago are dead, and they look like a completely different team, rejuvenated and ready to win this division right now.
It's impressive to say the New York Yankees, Cody, have the best OPS in baseball. As a team, not Aaron Judge and Juan Soto individually, but as a team, the best OPS in baseball. Number one offense, if you will, in baseball. Large in part due to those two players. They are getting more, help, more impact from different guys, but it comes down to Judge and Soto just being different, built different. The new version of the Triple Crown, which is not called that, but it's what I consider the Triple Crown. It's not really home runs, RBIs, and average anymore. It's really home runs, RBIs, and OPS, because I think that's just a more impressive stat, in my opinion. And Bobby Witt is 347 on an average right now. His OPS is also incredible. But Aaron Judge, Cody, is 51 home runs, first in the MLB, 122 RBIs, first in the MLB, with a 1.2 OPS. It's ridiculous. His on-base percentage is .465. We are looking at, no joke, no hyperbole, Barry Bonds-esque numbers. And that's just the truth. There's no negative thing to say about Aaron Judge outside of do it in the playoffs, but he is off the charts, Cody. Will he get to his own Yankee/American League record of 63? Is he going to continue to stay this hot? And will it be enough for this Yankees team to win this division?
One, I think they do win the division, yes. Baltimore just really hasn't been tremendous anyway. And just kind of like the Mets, which we'll get to later, the Yankees series with Baltimore, second to last series of the year, that's likely going to be for the division. And if you're the Yanks and you can maintain this 2-game lead, you win 2 out of 3, you've won the division there. So I think they win the division. I think Judge, it feels a lot like he's going to get there because all of a sudden they kind of have to pitch to him now a little bit more. I still think you got to be way more careful because I don't care who's on base. I'd rather have Aaron Judge at first base than rounding and being at home, which if you throw him a strike, it feels like that's where he's going to end up. Heck, today he robbed the home run and then doubled the guy off on first. He's doing things every single night. It's absurd. It's so ridiculous that it's shadowing what his teammate Juan Soto's doing, which is hitting 300 with 37 homers, 95 RBIs, and over 1,000 OPS, is barely talked about, and somewhat rightfully so. Shohei Ohtani's in Los Angeles with a 40 home run, 40 steals, and they're not at the end of August, and it's being overshadowed because what Judge is doing is exactly correct. It's Bonds-esque. It's just ridiculous at this point.
It's hard to even put it into words all the time because of how good it is. It's ridiculous how he's so consistent right now, but you start breaking it down. And what makes them so special is not just the fact that Juan Soto is batting 300 with all those home runs. The one category that Judge doesn't lead the league in that's surprising is walks. Judge is second in walks behind Juan Soto. Think about it, Cody.
And by a large margin, right? 1, 2, and then to 3. Isn't it a huge number? If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw that earlier today.
It's not an enormous number. So it's 108 for Soto, 106 for Judge, then 90 for Schwarber, and then it's a huge dip to Shohei at 69. So yes, it is a huge leap, either way you skin it. But imagine saying, all right, Aaron Judge is the most feared baseball player in the world right now. and you're walking the man who sits in front of him more than anyone else in the league. It goes to show how good of an eye Juan Soto has, how good of an approach Juan Soto has. Like Juan Soto has walked 108 times. He's only struck out 90. Just to give you some context, these other players who are in the top for walks, which is Soto, Judge, Schwarber, Ohtani, Nimmo, who's only always up there, like Ian Happ, Gunnar Henderson, and Willie Adames. All those guys not only have over 100 strikeouts, they have all over 130 strikeouts. And Soto's got 90. So not only does he walk more than anybody else, he doesn't strike out. It's ridiculous. The guy who hits before Aaron Judge just gets walked more than anybody, never strikes out, hits for power. It's ridiculous. And as an opposing pitcher, you're just like, God damn. Yeah, fine. I get DJ LeMahieu in the 9-hole. Guess what? I got to go through these freaking guys. It's ridiculous. And that's why this offense has maintained as a top offense in baseball, even when a month ago, you and I were on this podcast saying something's got to change. This offense stinks, and they're the best in baseball. It hardly makes sense, but it makes sense.
The Stanton return can't be overstated. It feels like they're getting more pitches because he's a legitimate threat behind them. But even Jazz Chisholm had went down, and they still kept it rolling. But this is the one thing I've been thinking of, and maybe it'll transition to somewhat into Mets talk. But it's not crazy to say that Aaron Judge is doing his job much better than Jacob deGrom at his peak was doing his job in a Mets uniform. And if you remember, deGrom was hitting and driving in runs, and sometimes the only runs and all of that. He was a back-to-back Cy Young. And Judge, in my opinion, is actually like somewhat significantly better at his job right now. I know it's apples and oranges, but then what deGrom was doing, which was the greatest pitching performance my eyes have ever seen.
Right. And if you look at WAR, which is that catch-all stat, right? He's 9.4. Second place is 8.4. He's a whole level of WAR, a whole point of WAR higher.
Is that Bobby Witt behind him?
Bobby Witt's number 2 at 8.4, which is also massive. So after Bobby Witt, you jump down to 7.6.
Wow, who's that?
And like Gunnar Henderson. And again, defense obviously comes into play here, but that's part of the reason why Judge is so impressive. And also, for the first time in Judge's career, really, he's playing every freaking day. He's 129 games played this year. Lindor has played every game this year at 131. Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson have played every game at 130 right now, or maybe they missed one each. I don't know. But like Judge is 129. Normally, the Yankees, we're used to seeing Aaron Judge sit out 15, 20 games just because he's playing every day, and he's better than he's ever been, basically, which is ridiculous because he had an all-time season 2 seasons ago.
It's insane. 61 homers or 62, whatever it was 2 seasons ago. And he's outdoing it.
Literally outdoing it. It's so ridiculous. And I'm trying to find the highest OPS of all time, and it's not giving me the stat that I want here, but I'll find it in a little bit here. It's so silly what is happening here with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and how good they are. The only question, Cody, that you can even bring up, the only thing that you can start poking holes in, well, did they do it in October yet? Are they going to get it done in October? And right now, on August 27th, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right?
well,
It's the only thing that matters. But right now, I don't care. Right? Like we'll talk about it when we get there. I'm enjoying the shit out of what we're watching from Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. It's insane. This is on pace to be one of the greatest duo seasons of all time. We're talking Ruth Gehrig. That's what we're talking about. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto.
The greatest that anyone listening to this has probably ever seen. I think that's pretty fair to say.
The only other one that was even close was Hank Aaron and Eddie Murray. That was another one where teammates were 1 and 2 in OPS. Sorry, did I say Eddie Murray? Eddie Matthews? Am I saying it? Eddie Matthews, right? Yeah. You don't
1952? I don't know.
Was Hank Aaron that old?
No,
50s?
I think he's like
60s?
the 60s. I think he's more like the 60s.
Yeah. So that was in our lifetime, because I did research on this like a nut job. And I think it was Eddie Matthews. Am I right here? Let's see. When his best OPS season, and now this is just awesome podcasting. Yeah, it was the 50s. 50s and 60s. It was when he was number 2 in the league in OPS and Hank Aaron was number 1. Yeah, that's it. So Eddie Matthews, 50s and 60s. So yeah, no one listening to this, like you said, was alive when that happened. Like it's ridiculous. So any thoughts on them other than winning the division? Like, is your confidence in them making that postseason run that matters to Yankees fans? Is that confidence higher, or are you still just a wait and see on that front because baseball is so baseball?
It's got to be a little bit higher. From the time in the beginning of the year, just knowing that it wasn't just on Judge's shoulders. Now you've got Juan Soto, who is a proven playoff performer. That makes you a little bit more confident. And the fact that the AL is like, no one's really taking it over. Nobody's really emerging outside of really the Yankees and the Orioles, I think, are competing for the best record in baseball. I think they're top 2 in the AL. They are. So
Right.
that part also should convince you that, hey, maybe this one's different for them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I kind of feel the same way. It's one of those things where you can kind of talk about it till you're blue in the face and say, oh, this is the year it's going to be a thing. Like it's going to be, it's going to work out. And then you just don't know because baseball's, its own animal, if you will. And by the way, it's 1959 when Henry Aaron and Eddie Matthews were teammates and were 1-2 in OPS. That was the last time it happened, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, you can talk about it all you want. And when it comes down to it, Yankee fans will tell you have to do it in October, but goddamn, is this exciting to watch Aaron Judge. All right, Cody, let's talk about the New York Mets really quick, as this is a quick hitter right here. Mets obviously don't have an Aaron Judge on their team, but they do have a Francisco Lindor.
Do they?
And, and my God, Francisco Lindor, really quickly, got his average up, and this all has to be caveated, which he was batting 190 for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. He's now up to 270 with an 826 OPS. He's got 27 home runs, 25 stolen bases. He's been just the epitome of consistency since he turned around the offense, with the defense being incredible. He's top 8 in WAR in the MLB.
Top in the NL, I believe. I think he just took it over.
Well, Shohei Ohtani, this is baseball reference, so it depends with.
Give me the numbers. I might have them in my head, actually.
Shohei Ohtani, 6.6, Ketel Marte, 6.0, and Lindor, 5.8.
No, Lindor's up to a 6.5, and I think Ohtani was a 6.3 last I saw.
It could be the other WAR, Fangraph WAR.
I could be looking at a different one. Anyway, he's been really freaking good.
He's been awesome. He's been so freaking good. And yes, it's Fangraph. In Fangraph WAR, he's number 1 in the NL, which is, again, insane that he started so poorly and now has become this model of consistency, an absolute engine of the New York Mets. But it's not all roses and butterflies in Queens, is it, Cody? This series with San Diego, there's a lot to be taken from it. There was impressive wins and there was a heartbreaking loss.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at right now on a confidence meter? They're still outside in looking in for the playoffs, but they're knocking at the door. They're playing decent baseball after that Oakland A's and Colorado Rockies debacle. They win the series against the Marlins, and they win the series against the Orioles, and they play good ball against the Padres. Where are we at? Where are we at in the New York Mets, Code?
Let's try to do this quick. I said this a couple weeks ago. I still believe wholeheartedly. One, it feels as if these losses that they keep having, and they just had another one, which a series split going in San Diego felt like a win. After the way they lost it, it felt much more like a loss.
Correct.
They keep having those type of losses, and I'm afraid that we're at the end of the year going to be looking at it and saying what could have been, all these opportunities that slipped through our hands. 4 times they've blown a 5-run lead this year. They've blown so many late game leads, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. Those scare the heck out of you. And the other thing that scares me is the fact that they keep walking guys. And it's just a recipe for a disaster. It just is. It's a recipe for a disaster, and it doesn't feel like no matter who they go to can avoid it. However, I thought going into this stretch that this was the stretch that's going to be the season. The further down the line I look, there's a series with Atlanta. It's the second to last series of the season, and that's likely going to be the season as long as they're just kind of staying within reach of it. However, I believe it goes Philly, Miami, Atlanta, Milwaukee to end the year, which is a tiny gauntlet. You got 4 with Philadelphia in there. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think it's Miami, or no, it's Washington. Maybe mixed in between. Same difference. And then Atlanta and then Milwaukee. So that's now probably what the season is. It's on the pitchers to throw strikes and to be able to close out games, and it's hard to believe that that's going to happen, even though they have been better with it in August. They have been.
Right.
But the heartbreaking losses, the roller coaster continues. I don't know if we're going to be up at the top or falling down at the end, but the roller coaster will continue.
Yeah, and you've been getting good performances out of Peterson and
great performances.
Great stuff out of Sevy and Quintana and Minaya have been doing their thing. And they are, so desperate. Like if Senga didn't get hurt in his first start back, like how much more confident are we in this rotation? But you're right. This Arizona series is paramount. But like I said last week on the podcast, the Mets have to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. It's the Yankees' bread and butter. Like, yeah, of course, Yankees fans and us, we all see like that one random loss to like the freaking White Sox or something like, oh my God, what's wrong with this team? That's because it's so not the norm that losing one game to the White Sox feels like a travesty. They don't do it. They beat teams they're supposed to beat all the time. The Mets have this way of looking great against the Orioles and Padres and then losing to the White Sox, which they play not this series, the next. So, yes, I agree with you. Arizona, Philly, and Atlanta down the stretch are the most massive series. But if they don't go ahead and win a series against Chicago or sweep Chicago, what are we doing, right? Like, I don't want to see the same old Mets go win 2 out of 3 against Arizona and then lose 2 out of 3 to Chicago. That's where they shoot themselves in the foot. That's where they constantly just make us miserable as fans. So this series starts Tuesday against Arizona when this podcast comes out, and it's huge. If they win 2 out of 3 against Arizona, wow, what a massive, massive road trip right there. Winning 4 out of 7 against San Diego and Arizona, which are the 2 teams right above us, right? Right there, right above them, and the Braves. That's huge. Then you have to go beat the White Sox. You have to compete against the Red Sox and the Reds. And then, final stretch from mid-September to end of September. You got 7 against the Phillies with 3 mixed in against Washington, 3 against Atlanta, 3 against Milwaukee. Philly will probably be locked into the division already, so hopefully that's a good thing for the Mets, but probably they're not going to take the games off, I'll tell you that much. Washington, they're out of it, so hopefully that's good. Got to win them. Atlanta will be fighting, and Milwaukee will be fighting. So it's time to kind of like put up or shut up for the Mets. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and then pleasantly surprise us against the teams that you're matched up well against or slightly underdogs to. And that's what they have to do. If they are who we think they are, they have to do it.
100%. This is why I'm happy they bought lightly, because it was never a guarantee. And here's the other thing. They haven't been that bad. Even when we thought they've been bad, the teams around them have been literally the best teams in baseball. Arizona, San Diego, and now even Atlanta's catching fire. They're back to 10 games above 500. Last time I checked, they were up 9-1 going into a rain delay tonight. So they just keep on trucking, and the Mets are going to be 3 games back by the time this comes out. The Mets have to win games because it doesn't feel like the other teams are losing any.
Right, which that loss against San Diego on Sunday was just a heartbreaker.
Especially with Atlanta losing earlier in the day. Sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah, but you're right. It's exact reason why it was just such a heartbreaker. You're up 2-0 in the 8th inning, and you're like, all right, come on, 1 out at a time, let's go. And then that walk, and you go, why did that walk just feel like massive? And it was. Home run, boom, done. Oh, my God. So, that's it. Mets season. Every game matters. You can't say, all right, if they beat the Diamondbacks, they're in. Because guess what? Even if they sweep the Diamondbacks, they're still well behind them, right? And they're still not controlling the Padres and the Braves at that moment. So you got to beat who you're supposed to beat. You have to beat the Reds. You have to beat the White Sox. You have to beat Toronto. Like, they're decent teams. They're 500 teams. The Red Sox are over 500. You got to win series. Just keep winning series, and you should end up in the right place. All right, Cody O'Connor. Quick hitter for us there. We have a huge, massive NFL podcast coming out on Wednesday, predicting all the divisions, all of our playoff predictions, going through every single NFL division, AFC and NFC, and our 3 wildcard teams. So look forward to that one right here on Subway Sports Talk on your podcast app and on YouTube. But other than that, we are out of here. Quick hitter on the Mets and Yankees. We'll be back tomorrow with NFL talk. Cody O'Connor, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.